Okay, this will just be a quick video for anyone that hates doing math with fractions, which is probably 99% of the people out there. And what this means is, like, let's say you're trying to solve a problem, and here's an example, of course, written out, but you don't want to do it because you know you're going to end up adding fractions in different places or dividing by a fraction, and you don't want to. So I don't either. And so I've always done this little trick, not really a trick, it's a math trick, but it's called clearing your fractions, where you get rid of all the fractions. Doesn't that sound appealing? Why, yes, Miss Mink, it does. So what are we going to do? Well, the first thing that you do is you want to view everything on your screen as if it was a fraction. So I have a fraction here, and this is a whole number 9. I would make it a fraction by putting it over 1, and then I have this 2/5 out the back. So now every single term, all 4 of these terms, is a fraction. So step 1 of the real process is going to be finding your least common denominator. Now, normally you do this whenever you want to add or subtract fractions. We're going to do it so that we're finding sort of this magic number that's going to get rid of everything. So my denominators are 3, 5, and 1. Now, I'm not going to circle that 5 because I already circled a 5. So what you do is you think of a number, the smallest number that 3, 5, and 1 are going to go into. And that, of course, is 15. So our magic number is 15. So once you find the magic number, what you're going to do is you're going to distribute this number to every single term in your equation. Now, you might think, well, this isn't legal. Like, how can she just decide she wants to multiply stuff by 15? And I'm telling you, perfectly legal, because as long as you do the same thing to every single term in the equation, you're just manipulating it to make it friendlier, okay? So when you go to distribute it, if you're weak at this at first, you might want to show your steps. So you might want to show that you're distributing to every single thing. The other tip is I usually put the 15 over 1 so that I remember this is also just a fraction. So when I go to distribute it, guys, I'm doing, let me draw my arrows because it's going to everybody. I'm going to be doing 15 over 1 times this first term. Now, 2/3 x is the same as 2x over 3. So some people like to write it like that. Some people like to put the x behind it. It really doesn't matter. Then I'm going to do the next one. So minus 15 over 1 times 1/5 equals 15 over 1 times 9x over 1. So this part's a little boring because you're just literally recopying it over and over, and you're showing your distribution, but I think it's really important. I also love parentheses because then I know where I am in the problem. All right, so once I've written out, I want to distribute, I want to distribute, I want to distribute. Okay, once I've done that, now I actually do the math. And what happens is miraculous, because by multiplying the 15 through, it's going to kill your denominator, and it's going to kill it everywhere. So you have 2 ways to do it. You can either, multiplying fractions is top times top, and then bottom times bottom. So if you want to do it that way and then reduce, you can. I don't like to do that. I like to reduce as I go, because when you multiply fractions, you can always reduce the diagonal. So 3 goes into itself once, 3 goes into 15 5 times. So I reduce and then I multiply. So now top times top is 10x, bottom times bottom is 1. Yay! Now I'm not going to write the over 1 because, well, that would look worse, but you don't have to, right? If it's over 1, you don't have to write it. Then I'll do my minus sign. Same thing here. I could multiply across, or I could reduce first. So 5 goes into itself once, 5 goes into 15 3 times, and now I'll do top times top. Bottom times bottom is a 1, so I don't have to write it. And then equals, same thing here. Now, nobody reduces because there's nothing on the diagonal, so I will have to actually do 15 times 9, and then it's over 1. And don't forget your x. Okay, what is 15 times 9? Grody. 15 times 9, let me math that over here. That's a 45. So 135. 135x. Okay. So then I have my plus sign, and now same thing here. I can't reduce that diagonal, but this one I can. That's a 1, and that's a 3, and then 3 times 2 is 6 over 1. So you go through this process because now this green equation, whatever the answer to the original equation is going to be the same answer to this new and improved equation that has no fractions. I promise you'll get faster as you practice this, and it is really, really, really amazing once you do, because then it becomes really easy to solve. I'm not even going to finish solving this. I just wanted you to see how this goes. So one more very fast example. All right, so let's pretend that you have an original problem. Let's do a bunch of different denominators because I want you to see that you're a superstar and that this is okay. Maybe it's like plus 1/2 equals, 1/3 x plus 3/4. Okay, so maybe it's something like this. So as you look across, make sure everything's a fraction. Yes, 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 yes. If it wasn't a fraction, put it over 1. That's done. Next step, let's find our common denominator. So I see a 3 and a 4 and a 2 and another 3, 4. So I'm not going to circle those. What's the smallest number that 3, 4, and 2 all go into? Now, if you suck at this part, you might just want to write out numbers 3 goes into, like 3, 6, 9, 12, blah, 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 and then see out of that list if there's a number that both 4 and 2 go into. So, like 4 won't go into 3 or 6 or 9, but it does go into 12. 2 also goes into 12. So 12 is the smallest number that all 3 of these will divide into evenly. So 12 over 1 is going to be my magic number that I'm going to distribute to all of these. And in fact, to save time, let me just write it out here. 12 over 1 is the magic number. Okay, now I'm going to distribute, 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 distribute. So I'm going to shut up. I'm actually going to hit pause. Actually, no, I won't. I'm just going to do it. Okay, really quick, as quick as I can. Isn't it fun watching me write as fast as I can? Not fun for me. Okay, there we go. So, oh, and then this x, if you're wigging out, oh God, if you're wigging out because the x is not on the inside of the parenthesis, like that's okay. We can change that. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to do what we did before. I'm going to quickly reduce and multiply. So 3 goes into 12 4 times, and then 4 times 2 is 8x. Minus, reduce that to a 3. 3 times 1 is 3x. Plus, 2 goes into itself once. It goes into 12 6 times. 6 times 1 over 1 equals 3 goes into 12 4 times, so that's a 4x. And then plus 4 goes into itself once. It goes into 12 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. So I hope that you watch that again without taking notes so you can hear me talk myself through it and understand just how easy and quick it can be. Now you're ready to go. From here you would just do the normal solving, and it makes life so much easier. ... All right, I hope that helped. Enjoy.